Good morning, folks. This is Lindsey Huddleston with SPS back in the building for another Monday Motivation. Getting it going a little bit. A little throwback for real. Late 80s. Sade, Turn My Back on You. Thought this is appropriate intro music today for today's Monday Motivation, this topic, which is they turn on you quick. Wow. Where am I going with this? Where did this come from? Beautiful songstress. But where does this come from, folks? As I say, my Monday motivations always either come from my personal life, from me pulling from the headlines. We're back in the football season, college and NFL. And boy, I just came to the conclusion that I was reminded that folks can turn on you quick, referring to college football. And I'll be totally direct, referring particularly to Michigan State football. Bad outing, 2 weeks in a row. It was bad. It was tough to watch, especially if you're a football fan. And when I put my journalistic hat on, I work on making sure I can be optimistic. But also, prior to being someone with media credentials, my background's been sports psychology, thinking through things. And when I see particularly a tough loss, I think about how that's going to impact the players, the staff, and, of course, the fan base. Who is this morning? Let me guess. I see my guy. Can you dig it? Good morning, Lindsey Huddleston. That's Tino. Tino, I appreciate you, man. Been going around all weekend long. I miss you down at the Detroit Auto Show when I was with the John Shipping organization for the sports forum. But I know you got in there and got a great photo. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your support. But what I want to get at, man, is it's not so much. Let me just be clear when I say this. As football fans, you have a right to be upset. If that's your team. As a football fan of the Lions, as well as the whether it's the Michigan State Spartans or, let's just say not too long ago, whether you were rooting for the Michigan Wolverines, you have a right to be upset. That's your team and you love them. But the vitriol that I saw and the extremists that I saw, and it just may just be that small percentage, was just unheard of and unlikely. But I get it, because if you do some research, we can talk about these things. It's well established that the concept that an individual's self-esteem is raised when associating themselves with others who are successful. So I get it. Mel Tucker just hit town a few seasons ago. There's been a lot of hype going on with him. He's a very boisterous guy in the sense of how he puts himself out there, and he's been able to deliver. And at this point, people wanted to associate that. So there's a low that comes when they're not getting the success they want to see, particularly talking about losing to Washington and losing to Minnesota in the fashion that it happened. Also, whatever the case, many fail to consider how much their own team support stems from various psychological motivations. We don't even understand that the word fan is connected to fanatic. There's an extreme mentality that comes with it. That's why we have these emotional highs and lows when our team is winning and when our team is losing. I did some research. Robert Cialdini, part of the Arizona State University Psychology Department Emeritus, he talked about this sports phenomenon, particularly even the fact that if your team wins, you're more likely to want to wear their shirt the next day. You're more likely to want to wear some team apparel, because when they lose, you don't want to put that shirt on or show up at the job or wherever you go. Let's talk about the NFL. Talk about the Lions. Dan Campbell, and I can appreciate him saying, hey, I messed that up, with how they lost like they did on the road in Minnesota. Watching that game, it was tough to watch. And people say Lions are being the Lions. NFL fans in particular identify with the team so strongly that the outcome of the game has emotional, psychological effect on the fan. It weighs on you. It carries you into Monday, good, bad, or indifferent. And it's really important that we recognize that we identify strongly with our team. And if our team will win the Super Bowl, your self-esteem and sense of optimism increases. See, that's a really heavy personal effect that it has on individuals. But on the flip side, if they lose, you get these feelings of anger. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. I hate these guys, so on and so forth. So this is a twofold message. This message goes to two groups. First of all, I got to give credit to Mel Tucker. You told me this a while ago. You can't get too high or get too low on the praise, or because it comes and goes. When you up, they with you. When you down, they definitely against you. But with that being said, I want to be able to help both groups in the sense that if you're a young athlete on the way up, it can be some great hype going on behind you, especially with social media. People loving you, loving everything that's happening, loving the way the season is looking, loving what the future is looking like. But, man, if you have a bad outing, things go bad, you will get a particular group of individuals who will come down on you. So you want to better keep that in mind. It's very easy to get caught up in the lust and the addictive nature of fandom and people loving you and singing your praises, whether it's on social media, when they see you, attaboy, or way to go, young lady, or all this type of stuff, high five. But if you lose, or if you're not, performing the way people want you, it's either no words or it's bad words. I want to shout out somebody in particular, my guy, Kerry Keaton. Kerry Keaton is a Spartan dog for life. Kerry had a really good point on social media, and I just want to acknowledge him for that. He said, it doesn't matter if they're 12-0, 0-12, 31. He said 31-7 or lose 31-7. Okay, I get it. He said, don't matter if they. I'm having a hard time seeing it because it's in small print, but he said either you're in or you're out is what he said. Be upset if you need to be, and want accountability, and that's understandable, but it's still a work in progress. What you cannot do, in my opinion, is waver in your support. As I've told countless teams in the 32 years, they don't really need an attaboy or for you to tell them how great they are when they're winning. We need that support when things aren't going as well as planned. Shout out to Kerry Keaton, the high school coach, Spartan dog for life. I can appreciate that. He's saying, look, when they win it, they don't need that. And if that's too complicated, I get real simple with my guy, Nathaniel Baker. Nathaniel Baker says, time to go back to work, boys. Keep chopping, go green. Simple as that. I know it's hard because we have these emotional connections. And, part of us being in love with the team is the highs and lows that we get on. If you're a Lion fan, you can relate to the paid in full. He said, look, don't nobody talk to me. If anybody look at me, it's going to be a problem. You don't want to hear it. But here's something that may help this other group of individuals, not necessarily the athletes who get in trouble when they perform, but the fans that may struggle with it. 3 principles that one of the psychologists talked about: denial, distraction, and connection. Okay, first, denial. Remember, it's just a game. I know it's a game that we all love. It's a game that grown men and women have dedicated their lives to. I've made a significant change in my life as it relates to sports, but it is just a game. Also, find a distraction. Get some space from people. And sometimes that means get some space from social media, because social media has the ability to dump on and on. And you're going to see it everywhere. It's unfiltered. You can't really control what you're going to see. But take a step away. If you're feeling that way, if you're so, caught up on what's going on with your team and not happy with the outcome, take some space. And the other part is get a connection. Go spend some time with some friends. If your friend group is small, go spend some time with yourself. Go find something else to do. But the reality is that I don't want people going over the edge when their team is not performing the way they do. And secondly, that vitriol that you put out there, how can you expect, good vibes and good positivity when you can beat up on the team when they're winning and then just hate on them so bad when they get down? And this is just life. Whether it's you getting that new position, they'll say, hey, great job, you got this position. But when it's not working out, you see how people respond to you. So I just want to share that with you guys on this day, on this Monday Motivation. I want you to have a positive day and a positive week. I'm grateful that I'm going to continue to follow some football, particularly some high school football this week. Shout out to Grand Ledge and DeWitt High School and Maynard Casterison, the team they're sponsoring the SPS game of the week on the road to the Final Four. Appreciate the support that's happening there. The scores and halftime and post-game interviews will be brought to you by Maynard, our good folks over at Maynard. So with that being said, guys, I won't keep you. Just get out there, man, and just remember, they turn on you quick. So know who you're loyal to, know who's loyal to you. Focus on that and get your job done. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just go handle the business. And with that being said, I want to wish you all the best. All right, you guys have a great day. See you next time. Peace.